It was raining when Emily first opened the envelope. The paper was worn, edges frayed, and the ink slightly smudged from the moisture. Yet the handwriting was unmistakably familiar. It was Daniel's. Her hands trembled as she unfolded the letter, her mind struggling to remember the last time she had seen him. 3 years had passed since he disappeared, leaving nothing but memories and a trail of unanswered questions. Emily had waited every day, hoping he would walk through the door, claiming some excuse for his absence. But each day ended with silence, the echo of his laughter only living in photographs and the occasional scent of his old cologne that lingered in her coat closet. The letter began simply, almost apologetically. "Emily, I never wanted to leave like this." His words were tender yet heavy, each sentence weighed with sorrow. He explained that life had become unbearable, that debts, illness, and despair had driven him away. He had thought leaving would protect her from the chaos that had consumed him, but he knew now that in leaving he had only broken her heart further. Emily sank into the armchair by the window, rain tapping rhythmically against the glass. The city outside blurred into streaks of gray and silver, mirroring the haze in her mind. She could still remember their mornings together, the way sunlight danced across his hair, the way his smile could make even the darkest winter morning feel warm. Those memories felt like a cruel joke now. As she read on, Daniel's words grew desperate. He had wanted to come back, he said, but the weight of shame and fear had anchored him somewhere far away. He hoped someday she could forgive him, though he did not deserve it. The letter ended abruptly, with a postscript that crushed her heart. "I wish you had never waited for me. I wish I had been strong enough to stay." Tears fell freely now, tracing paths down her cheeks, mixing with the rain that splashed against the window. Emily felt a void inside her that years of waiting and wondering had only widened. Her apartment, once filled with warmth and laughter, now felt like a mausoleum of broken promises. She had tried dating, tried moving on, tried convincing herself that she deserved someone who would never leave, but every attempt crumbled under the weight of Daniel's absence. That night, she walked to the river near the edge of the city. The water ran dark and fast, reflecting the city lights and distorted ripples. She clutched the letter to her chest, feeling its dampness against her skin. Every step toward the bridge felt like a step into her own sorrow, a surrender to the emptiness that had become a part of her identity. "Why didn't you come back?" she whispered to the wind. The answer was a cold, indifferent patter. Memories of him surged, the warmth of his hand, the way he had tucked stray strands of hair behind her ears, the quiet moments where nothing needed to be said. She had believed that love was enough to bridge any distance, but some distances, she realized, were insurmountable. Emily held the letter tightly, and for a moment she felt as if he were standing there beside her, whispering apologies into the storm. She closed her eyes, letting the memories wash over her. She remembered his laugh, his gentle scolding, the silly nicknames he had given her. And then she remembered the emptiness, how he had left without a word, how she had spent nights awake imagining every terrible scenario, hoping he was still alive. The wind shifted, carrying with it a chill that bit through her coat. She shivered, clutching the letter closer. The thought that he had been somewhere, perhaps suffering, perhaps thinking of her, was not enough to comfort her. No words, no letters, no memories could heal the hollow ache that had become part of her being. Emily eventually returned home, soaked and shivering. She placed the letter on the table and stared at it for hours, the words engraved in her mind. Sleep came only when exhaustion overpowered grief, but even in dreams, Daniel's absence was a shadow she could not escape. Months passed. The letter remained on her table, a monument to love lost and time stolen. Emily learned to live around the pain, to move through her days with a fragile smile. She laughed again, though rarely, and she spoke to friends, though sparingly. But at night, when the city was silent and the rain tapped against the window, she would pick up the letter and read it again, tracing his words with trembling fingers, remembering the man who had once been her world and had left her with nothing but the echo of what could have been. Emily never knew why Daniel had left, never understood the full story, and perhaps she never would. The uncertainty was a wound that never fully healed. But she kept the letter anyway, because it was all that remained of the love she had lost, and in its faded ink and smudged words, she found a strange sort of solace, an acknowledgement that some loves, though fleeting and painful, were too precious to forget. And so, life went on, each day a careful dance between remembering and surviving, between love and loss, between the presence of a memory and the absence of the person who had once made her world bright.